And good afternoon. This is Thaddeus Matthews coming to you live from my offices here at Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministries. On last night's show, or as I was doing last night's show, there were people who were asking me, why were you not doing anything on the Lorenzen Wright story, the story of Billy Ray Turner being arrested on yesterday and charged with first-degree murder. My reasoning for not doing it on yesterday is very simple. I had not did the research. I had not went back through my files from 2010, and naturally I cannot find all of this. But in 2010, I covered the Lorenzen Wright situation on radio. In fact, my radio station, WPLX, at the time was the only radio station that went live when the body was found. Many of you will remember Denise Ding, who for many years worked at DIA, and her last sprint on the radio worked for me. We covered this story. We covered this story live from the scene on the radio. So I had to go back and do some research on it because I was not just going to do an off-the-cuff show on last night. I think my show last night was wild enough. Thank you, Jessica. But I went back and I'm going back through some old stories. And tonight I am going to deal with this on the air. It is my opinion that Billy Ray Turner did not act alone or on his own. It is my belief that the ex-wife of Lorenzen Wright is very much involved in this death, this killing, this murder. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to deal with some things that local media is not talking about, and maybe many of the people in local media don't know to go back and where to look for, or they're just doing stories on the right nowness. And yes, it gets ratings and it does, as you want to be the first to report, but you have to go back and look at the history. And I went back into my data. Some of it I can find from 2010, and I'm going to deal with that on tonight's show. It is my belief that Shara Wright at that particular time had a lot to do with the death of Lorenzen Wright. And I'm going to give you some of the reasons tonight that I think that she had him killed. Billy Ray Turner and Shara Wright have a relationship. They were members of the same church. In fact, he's very much still a member. He's a deacon, good old deacon at the church. Billy Ray's mother, whose name I'm trying to find out even now, is reported to have been a nanny in the house. If you go back and you remember 2010, that Lorenzen was in town to take the children away from Cheryl. I was going back to some data. There was an assistant by the name of Wendy Wilson. Oh, I know Wendy Wilson. In fact, she sued me once. She was an assistant for Lorenzen Wright, who made a report, made a police report, made a news story concerning the fact that Cheryl Wright, she says, mother of Lorenzen Wright's kids threatened to have him fucked up. That was a story from 2010. In fact, her statements was, the former personal assistant Wendy Wilson told ABC 24 WPTY that Cheryl Wright was recorded saying things like, if she caught him with anyone else, she'd have him fucked up or whatever, according to an article that was posted on the website. Wilson says she filed a report with Memphis police because she felt the recorded conversations were threatening. She said Lorenzen Wright asked her to keep the tape, adding, he wouldn't have asked me to keep them if he didn't think he'd need them someday. My computer's freezing up. But let me go back to where it was. But there's a lot. There's a lot. There was a girlfriend that was involved with him at that time. And I'm going to go back through the whole story on tonight, on the show. And yes, I have, and I'll let y'all see it. I have a copy. I knew I had it in my records. I have a copy of the autopsy report of Lorenzen Wright. And I've read many autopsy reports during my years, and especially having a background. Jacqueline Lancaster, you here at the church? Well, damn. Dale, I guess she knows. I'm looking on the cameras. Like Dale knows you're here, Miss Lancaster. I have a copy of the autopsy report. There were 2 shots to the head, 2 to the torso, and 2 to, I think it was the arms. The body was totally decomposed at the time. But I'm going to get into the autopsy report as well as some other things on tonight. I'm very sure that Billy Ray Turner is going to speak on this. Did she bring it? Is that somebody else? Or somebody else? Somebody else, Jacqueline Lancaster, saying here on my Facebook Live, I'm here at the church.
Where's she? This her.
That's her at the door?
Well, she's not at the door yet, but that's her name.
Okay. Well, Ms. Lancaster, come to the front door, ring the doorbell, and Dale will see you. There's a lot of things, and I don't want to give my whole show away tonight. I'm going to also talk about the $1 million that Cherie Wright received for the support of the children's insurance and how quickly she spent it. It was supposed to be for the benefit of the children, and she spent $32,000 for a Cadillac Escalade, $26,000 for a Lexus, $69,000 on an assortment of furniture, $11,750 for a trip to New York, $339,000 to buy and improve a new house, $7,100 for a deposit on a swimming pool, $5,000 for lawn equipment, $34,000 on lawyers, all within 10 months. So I'm going to get into the show. Lorenzo, I don't know whether I can get the mother on my show or not. Some years ago, when this happened, I was one of the first people that was contacted because, again, I did live, and I wanted to bring the mother on my show, and she had agreed to come on my show. But, you know, I think that somebody got in her ear, you don't want to go on Thaddeus Matthews' show. So I have not spoken to Deborah Marion since that particular time. Bringing her on the show really serves no purpose. There's no purpose. I will tell you that when we deal with Billy Ray Turner, my sources in law enforcement tell me that in 2010, he was interviewed. He was looked at then. He has been looked at as a potential suspect in the past. But they could not link the gun to him. One of the things that is also we know that somebody else has to be involved. And here's the reason we know somebody has to be involved. Somebody had to tell them that that gun was in Walnut, in that lake, river, whatever it was, in Walnut, Mississippi. From my understanding, it was drained. They found the weapon there. For them to go through all of that particular trouble, they had to know something. Do not be surprised that the District Attorney General, who I'm not a fan of, is being silent. And they're being silent, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because there are some other folk involved in this. I believe with everything I believe in that Cheryl Wright is involved. I believe that when she got married, and I don't know, whether she's still married, she married a guy from the Sheriff's Department, and I think that she married this guy from the Sheriff's Department so that he could give her intel from the Sheriff's Department. I don't believe in coincidence. The fact that they were members of the same church, the mother was a nanny at the house, solidifies in my mind that there has to be a connection. Was it a hit? I believe so. Did he get paid? Okay. Or was he in love with Cheryl Wright and she whooped that thing on him and persuaded him to kill her husband? Again, when I read, and I've got a certified copy of the autopsy report, and I'm going to talk more in detail about this particular autopsy report on tonight. So I invite you to join me on the show tonight. It'll be no holds barred. But someone asked, do I believe that he's going to talk? Yeah. Because he's facing the rest of his life in jail. And if you're going to go down, why are you going to go down by yourself? He has $1 million bond, which means at least 10% of that would have to be $100,000. And on $1 million bond, there has to be a bond hearing. So I don't think you're absolutely right, Lorenzo Easterly Williams, about the wife threatening. And I've got that information where the assistant at the time, Wendy Wilson, and sometimes I take what Wendy Wilson says with a grain of salt. I know her. In fact, she sued me some years ago. Nothing ever happened of it. But she says that she has a recorded message that states in there that Cherie said, I'm going to fuck you up. Okay, if I catch you with another one of my other children. See, we also have to go back. Let me see if I can find it in my computer. Let me see if that ain't what I want. Okay. No, that definitely ain't what I want. Let me go back. Right. Yes, leave this page. Let me go back to what I was trying to give you all just a moment ago. I've got a lot of old data from a few years ago. Let me find what I'm looking for. All right, let me see if we can pull it up. And I'm glad that I keep a lot of stuff on here. Let's see. Cheryl Wright's divorce attorney, which was Gail Mathis, told police that Wright was herself threatened 6 weeks before her ex-husband was gunned down by an unknown assailant. Mathis said 3 armed men. Now remember, and some of you will remember this story. Mathis said 3 armed men showed up at Wright's door demanding to see her ex-husband. She said the men threatened Wright and her family if she reported them to police. Wright said the 3 men wore sports jackets, which they opened to reveal guns in their waistband. And according to online news, Wright arrived in Memphis unexpectedly on July 18th with his girlfriend in tow, which her name was Alexis Bradley. Someone reported that Lorenzen Wright planned to remove his children from his ex-wife's home and relocate them in Atlanta because she was addicted to cocaine. That's a lot. Okay. I will say this. There were reports that Lorenzen was tied to drugs and things of this nature and drug dealers in this community. That has not been proven. But I do know that I have a copy of his toxicology report that was given. And no drugs, no cocaine, ethanol. He may have had him a drink. Is basically all that I see. Ethanol is the only thing that it shows positive for, but there was no drugs, barbiturates, or any of those things that were found in his system. But again, I don't want to do the show here on Facebook this early in the day, and I do have some other things that I need to be doing. And I'm here, and again, I am here at the church, hell, where I am every day working. But I thought, and again, I just want to reiterate, when people will ask me, how come you're not doing the story on last night? Well, first of all, I had another story already planned, which was off the chain on last night, and I had not did my research on this. The arrest happened. It started breaking in the late afternoon, and I want to be thorough in what I do. because I count myself as the best reporter in this town, researcher as far as these type of situations are concerned. So I wanted to deal with what I have as factual information, and I didn't just want to go off of what I saw other news agencies doing, because a lot of those people who are reporting news now was not in Memphis in 2010. My station is shown Comcast 31. If you do not have Comcast 31, I go Facebook Live right here at 7 p.m. on tonight. Again, I am going to open up the phone lines tonight on tonight's show. I think this is a conversation that people would like to have an open conversation on. You're going to hear some information on my program that you're not going to hear on anyone else's program. And I am going to go back and do some other research here in the day, today rather. Suzette, I don't think it was sudden. I don't think it was sudden. I think that someone finally talked to the police. And they found that that information was credible. And they acted on that information. But this guy, again, let me say this, from my sources in law enforcement, was looked at some years ago in 2010 as a suspect. But I just believe that Sheriff Wright is involved. I just, all of my gut tells me that this was a hit. Now, I also think that there is somebody else involved with Mr. Turner. Okay. I think that this person that may have been involved with Billy Ray Turner is the person who informed the police of where the weapon is. Why would the individual do that? Well, I don't know whether it's conscience or whether it was the fact that there was some things leading into other parts of the homicide investigation, and this person is trying to get a lesser sentence for putting it all where he says is it goes, and that's on Billy Ray Turner. I'm waiting for, let me go back into what is known as the Odyssey system and see, because what I've been looking for all morning in the database of the criminal database here in Memphis is to get the indictment. Let me do it like this. I got too much up at the same time. I always do that. Well, Angela, I think that if Cherie had a plan to have her husband killed, that her story, which has never been solidified, I think this was a cover. Let me see. I've been in the system this morning. Let me put his name back in the pewter. I'm trying to see if the affidavit has been submitted yet. It keeps showing the same thing. Indicted, not in custody. We know it is an open. He's in Lee Coffey's courtroom. All right. That's a judicial officer that signs everything. Date of birth 2/23/71, 187 West South Street in Collierville. First degree murder. Bond set at $1 million. And there is nothing else that's really showing on old Billy Ray. Let's see. I'm looking at his criminal history. That's 94. That ain't of no interest. See, but there's a lot of unanswered stuff that we're dealing with. He does have a charge, old Billy Ray, of manufacturing, delivering, and selling a controlled substance, possession. This happened in 96. Huh. But again, I'm just watching. There's going to be more arrests, I think, in this case. So we'll just have to sit back, wait and see what's going to happen. But we've got to be, I guess we just got to sit back and wait. I wouldn't go down alone either, Wendy McCullum. I wouldn't go down alone. He's not in this by himself. I'm going to be interested tonight. I am going to open up the phone lines on the show, on Thaddeus Matthews' show tonight. Give you the opportunity to voice your comments and your concerns. But he ain't going down by himself. Did Lorenzen have any connection with drug dealers? Perhaps. I mean, the rumors were in the street. Some of the names were given. Some of those persons are no longer with us. Of some of the names that were shot out there some years ago as drug dealers that Lorenzen Wright may or was alleged to have dealings with. Okay. But tonight we will talk about it all on the Thaddeus Matthews show. I'm hungry. I think it's about time for me to have a little lunch. You know, and I guess I'm also wondering, why the members of the church, y'all having a prayer visual for him? Suzette, there was that station. Reverend R.M. Faulkner. Okay, come on in the room, Doc. Yeah, that was, well, Kenneth, I don't know whether he was lured into the wind, into the woods, or forced to go into the woods. Okay? But I do believe that the wife is very much involved. It was always thought, and has been thought, that it was a hit. Okay? One of the thoughts back in the day is that it was a drug deal or something had happened with some drug money, things of this thing. There has been all types of rumors out there. But I very much think that the wife, it is my opinion, maybe not yours, that the wife was very much involved. Y'all members of the same church, his mama's being a nanny. That's too coincidental for me. And that's a question. How did they know? Somebody told them where that gun was. And I'm hearing that particular spot where they found the gun has come up in the past. All right. See, y'all have me doing a whole show here on Facebook. And I need to go get me a little something to eat. I think I want me some crab legs. But I hope that you would join me tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time, right here on this spot, as we also appear on Comcast 31, the SVP TV network. Okay? The SVP TV network. Join me tonight. Join me tonight. See, the thing that's also going to be concerned is if it was a hit, he ain't did it on his own now. And sure, you got a point. Was the $5,000 in lawn equipment purchased so that he could start his landscaping business? That's a point. Where's my list? $5,000 for lawn equipment. That'll start your business. Because here, let's understand something. I got a yard, man. I ain't cutting nothing. I don't cut no grass. The lifestyle that she was used to living, why would she need lawn equipment? See, I can't give my whole show away now. But I'll tell you this one. That lawn equipment is going to be tied to him. Give you something else. This guy was real comfortable. Okay. This guy, we're talking about old Billy Ray. Billy Ray, real comfortable. You still here in Memphis. Huh. Then, another question upon it. If the investigators in homicide get you talk show too, Pastor, huh? If homicide was for some reason leaning on Cherie, maybe she gave him up. As y'all sing that song, y'all know bitches ain't loyal. Look, I'm the baddest man on TV. Y'all join me on tonight. We'll do this tonight, 7 o'clock Central Time, right here. If you don't have Comcast, you can get me right here on this set. Now, I'll be reading your comments. You can put some other comments out there if you choose, and we'll be reviewing it, but don't miss me tonight. Get ready to go get me some lunch. Yeah, go get me some lunch. Pastor be hungry. Y'all join me tonight. I'm Thaddeus Matthews, and I'm a bad man. Talk to y'all later.